Welcome back, viewers. We are witnessing a significant development in the Israel-Hamas conflict, a conflict that has now spanned over 460 days in a major step forward. First phase of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas has been implemented as part of this carefully negotiated agreement. Hamas has released 3 Israeli hostages. This marks a critical moment as these hostages were amongst those who were held since the escalation of violence began. In exchange, Israel has freed 90 Palestinian prisoners and detainees as well, signaling a cautious yet important step towards de-escalation. Now, the images you're seeing on your screens are of the 3 hostages who have been released by Hamas as part of the ceasefire agreement that they have been identified first as Romi Gonen, also is Emily Damari and Durrani, who have been freed by Hamas. Now, Roni, remember, was abducted on October 7th from the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel. Emily, who is a British Israeli citizen, was kidnapped from her apartment. This was from a kibbutz. And lastly, Doron, who is a vet or a veterinary nurse, was also abducted from her apartment. She also featured in a video released by Hamas on January 2024, along with 2 female Israeli soldiers.
We welcomed home 3 hostages, 3 young women, after 471 days in Hamas captivity. Let me tell you about these 3 young women. Romi Gonen, who turned 24 in captivity. Romi was dancing with friends at the Nova Music Festival when Hamas terrorists invaded and attacked the festival. Emily Damari, who turned 28 in captivity. Emily, a dual Israeli and British citizen, was abducted by Hamas from her quiet home in kibbutz Kfar Aza. And Doron Steinbacher, who turned 31 in captivity. Doron, a veterinary nurse, who brutally abducted from her home in kibbutz Kfar Aza, was still in her pajamas. We cannot imagine the horrors these 3 young women have endured in 50 months of Hamas captivity. Today, we salute and embrace them and their families as they reunite after so long.
And talking about the Israel-Hamas deal, viewers, what is the ceasefire deal? What we know about it so far? Israel-Hamas, remember, have agreed on a ceasefire. This was on January 15. That's according to sources. This is what we know at the moment when the ceasefire deal was agreed on. That was January 15th. Talking about the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal, remember, Netanyahu had said that the releasing of the names of all of those who had been held captive was also important. Ceasefire was agreed after 460 days of war. 460 days had passed, multiple deaths, and then the ceasefire deal was agreed on. Ceasefire is going to take place in 3 phases. The first, we already know, has been kicked off, in which a few hostages have been released. We obviously played their visuals also of celebrations which are taking place. Limited prisoner exchange during phase 1. That is also a part of the deal. All of this, obviously, according to sources, according to reports, the prisoner exchange also going to take place, and also partial troop withdrawal is going to happen from Gaza, which is why we've been seeing shots of and visuals of celebration from Gaza region as well. 6-week time has been given to complete the first phase of this ceasefire deal. We also have more updates talking about the phase 2. Hamas is going to release more hostages in the second phase. That's what we know at the moment. Israel is also going to begin complete withdrawal from Gaza. That's also going to begin in phase 2. Conditions of phase 3 as far as the ceasefire deal is concerned, that part is still unknown. But the foreign minister of Israel has spoken out. Let's listen in.
Ceasefire Israel signed off to is a first phase of a gradual deal which has the potential of bringing back our hostages and also making sure Hamas won't be ever able to massacre Israelis like it did on October 7th. Peace won't prevail if Hamas is allowed to rearm and regroup. The Middle East has changed. The Iranian radical regime still constitutes the biggest threat to our region, but it has lost Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza. With enough international pressure, we can make sure it stops its quest for nuclear weapons. I'd like to thank the Indian government for supporting our right for self-defense, and we especially appreciate the overwhelming support of the Indian people.
All right, with that, we'll slip into a short commercial break. News and updates on the other side. Please don't go anywhere.